intro video or something like that. Let me take this off so that we can see our faces much bigger. There we go.
There we
Look
go.
at our enormous faces.
Hello, hello.
Let's hope people start popping in. So I think as people are joining us, we'll give them some time. As much as I don't like to do this, and I hate when people say this to me when I get in meetings, and they're like, oh, we'll give everyone 5 minutes to join. But this is not a corporate meeting, so we'll let people pop in. And maybe while we're waiting for people, you can introduce yourself and tell the few people who don't know who you are, what you like to do, and what they should know about you.
Well, hopefully there's more people who don't know who I am, because that would be fun.
True. Good point. And here I am like, oh, I hope everyone knows who you are. And you're like, I don't want to know these people. There need to be new people.
Well, I do want to know these people, and I want to know the people who, I do know. This is going to get complicated. All relationships are complicated.
All relationships are very complicated.
They are. Me. I am. Hello, who popped in?
Hello, Trevor.
Hi. Well, I'm a crazy cat lady. I think this is the most important thing probably to say, because otherwise life will not be worth living when I go back into the living room and there is the cat looking at me going, you didn't mention me.
Helen would say that. She knows.
She does indeed. However, she might suddenly decide to come in which case we shall be tail bombed as we go along.
I would love that. I love Helen bombs.
But never mind. So I'm a crazy cat lady. I'm a witch. I was born into a witchy family, so it's not new age stuff. It's all ancient. The family have been practicing since the year dot. And I went on to be a psychotherapist. And now I twine psychotherapy with witchy ways, with 20 big business experience, like the Ministry of Defense, corporate stuff. And I'm incredibly good at helping you magic yourself up and magic your business up. And we're going to talk about that today. So,
magic your business up. Yeah, that'll be. We should maybe come up with a slightly better tagline than magic your business up. I don't know. Maybe people would like that. We'll have to let people.
I don't know. I think it's quite fun.
Magic your business up. We do love phrasal verbs in English. I'm sure that some people will know you, and if they're hello, Susanna Dawn, we're using my full name. So I'm Nadine Hare, for those of you that don't know. I'm a friend of Ellen's, and we have been working on some cool projects together recently. So magic me up. Oh, Laura, stop.
Laura, yeah, I'll magic you up anytime, honey. Just get in touch.
Take my side. Laura Ray's a contributor to WriteWiser, which some of you will know is both my company and my passion project. So I let writers hop on there and share their work as long as it's about writing, and I give them a byline so that you can add to their portfolio. So for those of you that don't know, I'm here in England at the moment, my parents' house. That's why I have this very, traditional looking decoration around me, which is very different. There's an old boat here, a boat model. So all of these things that are not in my house, and I'm hosting Ellen to talk about composting and how we can make gold out of old, because that is what she does. Hi, Piera.
Hi, Piera. Yeah,
it's lovely to see people joining in. If you can chat in and tell us where you're listening to us from, so we have an idea, because me and Ellen are always talking about the time zones, like when should we actually do this? We've done it at other times, haven't we? And we can't really work out when's a good time because we don't know which time zones are interested in listening to me and Ellen talk.
So it'd be really, really helpful if you can all say we're at so and so, and then we can connect up, because unfortunately, I suspect I'm not going to get my friends from Australia, but I might. You never know. So
maybe they really committed to you, and they would come.
Well, yeah, but I mean, 2 o'clock in the morning is asking
a lot. But Trevor would say that we should show up. So Trevor, who's hopping into the comments and saying that he's in Bellingham, we're you've been doing your earlies at like, I don't know, 7 p.m. EST or something like that.
North London. No, I know
North London.
Right then. Yeah.
I didn't understand it till you said it, Ellen. Until you did the accent, I was like, "Where's that? North London? Oh my goodness."
North London, isn't it, mate? Yeah. Get me Barrett out. That didn't make any sense to you. It's half Cockney.
Parrot hat. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got people dropping in from the US, so maybe we should consider the US time zones more and forget about Australia, because I don't think anyone from Australia has popped into any of our lives anyway.
No. So again, it's like trying to work out where everybody is and how we can do all this stuff. And
Exactly.
but we're getting there. It just takes a bit of time.
Bit of time. Yeah, we're warming up. Yeah, and on that note, you've got some excellent questions, guys. I will tell you that we've been talking, me and Ellen, I should say, have been talking about this for a while. And I sent her some questions because she's been talking about composting. And okay, brief disclaimer, there will be no talk of using kitchen waste today. So if you were here for that, you
Oh,
can go.
don't steal my thunder. I'm going to tell them that.
You're going to tell them that. Okay. I've already disappointed them. I've lowered the expectations, Ellen. Everything from here will be will be upwards. And that's it. So I'll let you answer those questions and tell me everything that we need to know about composting. And guys, I'll be here to interrupt Ellen with your questions. She's not
Yes,
looking at the
please.
chat, so drop me questions as we go, and I will hello tapas, and I will interrupt her.
Yeah, that's what I'd really like. So something comes up, shoot a question. But you know, I'm an ancient old witch, and you know, I'm a bit sort of slow on things, and I won't be able to pick up the chat and keep my thread and keep turning the slides on. So if you could just chuck the questions up there, then Nadine will sort of say, "Oi, question," and we'll be all right. That's the one. I shan't see that either, but don't worry about
I'll
it.
make a noise. Don't worry. I promise I'll make a noise.
You do that sort of thing. Okay, well, let's see. How do I get this damn thing in the show again?
I bring it in. I am your
There you
host. It is
go.
my job to do the admin. There we go.
Right. So I made a little PowerPoint, partly to lead me along and to make sure that I don't miss points and get carried away and stick to the basic thread. Because like Nadine said, I could go on about this, you know, till the cows come home, as they say, but I won't. I shall try and stick to a nice theme and a thread through this. But old into gold is really important. Now, I don't know whether you probably recognize this glorious bird here, but it's a phoenix. And phoenixes and old into gold and composting all relate together, because the phoenix, if you don't know the story, I'll just sort of whiz it. The phoenix went through all sorts of adventures and was burnt. And so he was completely gone. And then he rose up out of the ashes full of flame. And this is him doing precisely that. Now, what we're going to talk about today is you and your business going down into the ashes and rising up, flaming, beautiful colors, flying as your phoenix, and being that thing. So I thought it was a rather gorgeous thing to come in on. So to take us into that, this is where I was shouting at Nadine to not steal my thunder. We're not here. We're not here today to talk about recycling your posts and your content. And not that I'm knocking it, because I use it, I do it, and it's great and it's really, really useful. But it's only one part of composting your whole business. It's an important part, and it's a part most people can get into straight away, but it doesn't do your whole business. It just gives you things to keep going, to recycle, to remake your points in a different way. That's not what we're doing today. And the other thing that we are not doing is kitchen composting or garden composting. And I do both of those too. And I live right out in the country and I grow quite a bit of my own food. So I use composting. Great stuff. Probably lots of people do. Very, very useful. And not what I'm talking about. However, if you find you want to know about how to compost, contact me, DM me privately, and I'll run a compost course for you, because I'm seriously good at it. I've even written a book on it. So there.
Maybe we should do like a combined one where you have to talk about composting that people know.
Bloody potatoes.
Too many ideas. I'll table that one.
Veg, no. We're not going there. No. But as you'll see, as I've said down here, garden composting and composting your business have a lot in common, as you will find out. So it's a very good model to use and a very good sort of idea. Actually, amusingly, I had a comment from one of my clients on LinkedIn today saying, hey, I'm going to miss this. I'm going to be on my way to holiday. But what a blooming good idea. So I sort of had to write back to say, you can get it on replay. It's all right, darling. And so, yeah, it seems to be a very popular idea. And especially now we're all being ecological. We're not wasting anything. Well, we're trying not to waste anything. So, just what's it all about? Well, you have to excuse me now because Restream is just so tiddly and I'm blind, so I should look like a witch.
What would you like me to do?
Nothing. Go for it. I have some tapas coming. Right. Okay. What is it all about? Well, it's about alchemy. And the old alchemical processes, which you sometimes get, I think they even do it in Hogwarts. So, you've probably seen it on films and that kind of thing. The basic idea is turning lead into gold. Now, strictly speaking, in chemistry and normal everyday physics and that kind of stuff, you can't do it. Well, actually, you can because somebody already has. But it was damn difficult, and I wouldn't recommend you trying it. But the idea was turning lead, which is dark grey, heavy stuff, doesn't do anything, is very, very inert, gold, shiny stuff, which just seems to exert such a fascination onto everybody. But it always was a metaphor. And it's a metaphor for all sorts of things. I mean, personal, take it on the personal level. You could decide that you want to change from the boring person you are at the moment, and you really want to get out there and be yourself and shine. Or you may decide that you've always known there was something witchy and spiritual inside you, and you've never had the chance to open up to it. And now you really want to let that out and shine. So it's about change. And it's always been this metaphor for changing from one state, which is, and this is why lead is a relatively inert stage, into something which is much more exciting, much bigger, more inclusive and beautiful. So that's what I want to, that's what I'm already helping some people do with their, as I put it, your old tired business. And everybody's business gets tired. Mine got horribly tired 4 years ago. I am still in an alchemical process, just coming out the other end of changing it. And I wanted to change it into a new, shiny, up-to-date one. And again, we all want to do this. And it's part of what Nadine's trade is, and it's part of what my trade is, helping people move from this old thing, which is out of date. I call it like past its sell-by date, like you see on the supermarket shelves. And it was great for the time, but not anymore. Now you need to move.
I know people are surprised when you're starting something new, and you recently went to a networking event, didn't you? And somebody said they were surprised that you're starting a new business, right?
They were. Well, do you want me to do the whole thing? Because it was this lovely women business meeting, local people, or fairly local in Shropshire. And I hadn't met this woman before, so, it's chat, sort of thing. And so I asked about hers, and her business was really interesting. It's actually about videos and making videos and things like that. And she was just probably sort of, excuse me, darling, if I've got this wrong, but sort of 50-ish kind of thing, a lady of a certain age. And so she sort of asked me about mine as I started. And she said, but you're probably running down to retirement now, aren't you? I think she had sort of realized that I was quite a lot older than she was. And so I can understand it. But it just came straight out. It was like, no, I'm no good at afternoon TV and bingo. I've got to keep working. I love working. And then I sort of realized that just possibly that wasn't quite the right thing to say at a networking meeting, but it was too late. It was out, so I did it.
It might have been what she aspired to. That's the thing.
It could be. Thank you for rescuing me on that point, Nadine. Yeah.
But it's good. You're giving people a different perspective and saying, oh, actually, you don't have to retire if you don't want to. And you can retire and start a business that's way more fun, you know.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that you really enjoy working for your business.
I think if everybody did do that, it would be great because we would all work so much better. And this is another reason for moving from the old stuff, same old, same old. Yes, I can do this. Yes, you know, I think you said at the beginning, Ellen can talk about this in her sleep kind of thing. But in a sense, I don't want to do that. I want to have to learn as well. I want to have to grow and change. And as long as I'm doing that, I still feel 25 inside. I just haven't got the blooming body anymore.
We all do. We all look in the mirror and go, oh goodness, I was definitely. Anyway, we won't do that chat today. I'm going to launch a question out to the audience.
I'm composting my mind and my body's desperately trying to keep up, so it's fine.
It's just you're going too fast for your body. That's the thing. It's like physics, isn't it? If anyone is listening and thinking about what you could be turning in from old into gold, does anyone have a business, something, or a project, a personal project, a pet project, a passion project, something that they're working on? Can you drop that in the chat and tell us what you might like to breathe life into?
Oh, Trevor.
You, Trevor. Nobody is denying that. There's not a hint of irony in my voice. He's got a 17-year-old, I think.
Yeah, he was 17. I mean, I thought you were only 15. Sorry. Banter apart, but yes, do. If you've got something you want to see that you'd like to be doing, bang it in the chat. Let's see, let's share them. Because when you share what you want to do in your passion, it's got a little bit more chance of coming out into the light of day. But another question that Nadine asked me when we first started to talk about this was, if I can get this thing to move. Come on, darling. Oh, you moved it. Sorry, this is when you've got two drivers in the car. Have you ever been
I'm not touching anything. That was you. I am not driving. I've been told not to touch the PowerPoint. I'm not touching the PowerPoint.
It's fine. It's fine. No, so Nadine said, well, what's witchy about composting then?
Yeah.
And I totally get it. But yay. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Now, composting is Asian. Alchemy is about transmutation. Turning lead into gold is not transforming it. You're not changing its shape or its color particularly or anything like that. You're changing it from one chemical element into another one. So that's damn near impossible. And usually it only happens through radioactivity. But anyway, that's getting too complicated for this. But most things that we see are transforming, like, you know, you change your clothes, you change your hairstyle, or your room furniture is different, or you get a new, you know, you can get a new house, or you change your garden round. That's transforming it. It's not stopping it being a house or a garden, and it's still clothes, and it's still your hair. Transmutation, as I said, is when you're changing something's essence. Now, I did this 4 years ago, but just an example is quite good. You know, when you're composting in your kitchen, you're there chopping up bits of old cabbage and you put them in the compost. And then what comes out 3 to 6 months later, depending how good you are at it, is soil. It doesn't look anything like a cabbage whatsoever. It is lovely, crumbly, black soil that, you know, your new seeds are going to really love. So that is complete change. So, wow, I've just seen a chat. Have you seen this chat?
I didn't want to interrupt you and bring it up on screen, but now you've mentioned it. Trust Susanna to say something impactful. She just, you want her on every live. So I'm getting ready to pull out a number of fantasy and sci-fi books I've started as the stories are clamoring to move from my thoughts to paper and then publication. She's done a few books already.
Go
So
for it, Susanna.
yeah.
Absolutely go for it.
So
Yeah.
so that's what you're trying to breathe new life into then, I
Mm,
guess, Susanna.
yeah, I hope so.
Wonderful.
You
We'll
should.
make this relevant as we go.
Yeah, I'm an author too, and so I know the feeling of I got to do this. So follow it, do it. But it will come out that, your old fantasy books and fantasy stories that you were going to do, they will come out new if
Mm.
you work through the whole process of it. And that's what it's really, really about. And at the bottom of here somewhere, I had it's alchemy. And it's it's sort of slightly crackers like this, but it is so important because alchemy is all woo woo. Yeah, it's weirdos, it's witches and wizards and funny hats and funny old men stirring cauldrons and all stuff, blowing things up in Hogwarts laboratory or something. No, it isn't. Well, I mean, it can be. It can be fun, but no, it isn't. What it's about, it's stuff we can do, and we can do it through composting. The idea of composting. I'm not suggesting that you actually put your business into a bucket and then stuff it in a compost bin and leave it for 6 weeks or 6 months or
With
something.
worms and slugs.
Fun. No, I think not. No, we're not suggesting that, but we are suggesting that you transmute it, that you change its basic essence. And as I said, 4 years ago, I had to move house, I had to come up here, very pleased because it's lovely. And I had to change my business. I didn't used to work with business people nearly so much as I do now. And that was sort of a huge learning curve. It's a change of the essence of actually what I do.
Yeah.
It was an enormous change, and it's still growing and progressing. But I followed the path that I'm going to suggest for all of you. So I know it works and I can transmute it. I have transmuted. I am in the process of transmuting it. And it really did go from what it was, which was a lead balloon, into what is becoming, I think, a golden business engine. So I just didn't do it on my own. I used the old magic that I grew up in, as well as and psychotherapy is not just about sorting out your hang-ups. Psychotherapy is about sorting out your whole way of thinking and your whole way of feeling. It's more than just mindsets.
Oh, for goodness, yes, of course.
It's all about everything. And I had to change all of that. And the process is just like composting. I started off with my old stuff, the way I'd always run a business, the way I'd always taught, the way I'd always worked with clients, all of this sort of thing. This was back in 2019. I'd already started working online and on Zoom, so I was slightly ahead of the game there. And then, of course, wham, COVID. And so I couldn't run retreats. I couldn't have weekends away. I couldn't have one-to-one clients. It was just not possible. So it was like, oh, I've got to find a new way of doing this. Help!
Yeah.
And we all did. But I actually had a backing team, which I'll talk about a bit more at the end. But the first thing I had to do on the practical level was sort out my rubbish. Because not enough was going to be bad. Some of it was going to be reusable, recyclable, refurbishing. Some of it was just like, send it to the secondhand shop. Some of it was like, really, you don't even want to look at that, when you've got something at the bottom of the fridge you've forgotten about for 3 weeks. Yeah.
Or that shirt that you've washed too many times and you really shouldn't give it to anyone. It's not donatable.
I am no longer a teenager going around in ragged clothes. I don't look right. So yeah, all of that kind of stuff, you sort it. But in composting in the garden, you'll always hear you've got to sort your browns and your greens, and you've got to have browns and greens, and you've got to have the right constitution between them. In the garden, your browns are paper, cardboard, the dry stuff, dry leaves, dry twigs, that kind of thing. And your greens are like the grass clippings and your kitchen waste and the weeds that you've pulled up, anything like that.
I am glad you explained. I don't know if it was off my confused face, but I did need the explanation.
I sort of thought people might actually.
Greens and browns. I don't know.
What an avid gardener.
I know there are some avid gardeners in this chat and people that also have the gardens, so probably do know these things. I'm
Yeah.
just not really adulting enough yet to have a garden, so so
I
thanks for
don't
the
think that you
explanation.
need an adult for it. I mean, you just happen to decide to, gardening's a passion of mine. It's not one of yours. That's fine. Doesn't have to be. But the similarities are that your browns, your dry stuff, your cardboard.
Yeah.
In your business, it's your mindsets, your thinking,
Okay.
the old ways of doing things. Even like, well, I've always looked out of the window. I've always had the laptop in front of the window. And no,
Hmm.
actually, it'd be better if I had the window over there and the laptop over here. It's like, what sort of chair am I sitting in? Is it comfortable? Oh, I've put up with this one for 10 years now, and I manage with extra cushions. But really, wouldn't you be a better business person if you were actually sitting comfortably?
Hmm.
So
Yes,
there's,
most of us would be much better better people in general if we're comfortable. Thank you, LinkedIn user, that we don't know who you are, saying that they love this.
I'm glad.
There is a setting, guys, in LinkedIn that you can change. So if you want us to be able to see your name on lives, it's just in your settings. But if not, drop us your name so we know who to
We'd
thank.
love to know who you are. Yeah, especially since you love it. So you need to sort out that side of it, but you also need to sort out your feelings. And I think it's got a lot better over the past few years, but it used to be if you're in business, you didn't have feelings, you squashed them. And
Hmm.
no, being emotional, and men weren't supposed to be emotional or anything like that either. And all of this stuff. But now, if you feel good about your job, if you feel good about your business, if you feel good about the service that you're offering or the product that you're making and giving,
Right.
it's going to work. If you don't love it, nobody else is going to love it. And that's really worth thinking about. Got tired of the way I'm teaching some of my students, for instance. I might be really tired of the way I'm doing that. And it's like, no, not
Hmm.
again. And I don't love it anymore. So that's got to change so that I love it. And then
Yeah.
they'll love it too.
Of course.
And you also got to change how you feel about the whole business. I mean, sometimes you can get to a stage of like, I just don't care. I don't want to do this anymore. And
It's
I'm
true.
sure we've all been there.
Isn't that
And I
sad?
know Nadine has. And I'm sure we all have.
I haven't started enough of my own businesses to have got there, but I do have a couple of friends that have described this to me recently, and I'm not going to name names because I'm not sure I'm going to talk about the same person. I'm not sure I'm remembering the right person, but they did say recently that they had a very successful business and they were getting close to seven figures, but they just got to the point where they just really weren't enjoying it.
Yeah.
And they sort of fired themselves and said, I'm just going to go and do something else. I think they got an employment job, and then they ended up starting their own business, doing something else. But yeah, I mean, I guess people can get to that position. I'm trying to think empathetically, or how would I be in their shoes? I've never got to the point where I'm like, I'm not enjoying doing my own thing. But
I never have that. I have though, and I know you have. I've been in a job. I mean, before I
I've been in
set up,
jobs I've been ready to leave.
but I mean, I've been the job I was in before I left and started my own business.
Hmm.
I was a software designer, software engineer designer. I loved it,
Yeah.
and for the last 3 years before I left, I was quite happy. We would have breakfast meetings in the cafe just down from the office, and we'd
Hmm.
still be there at 7 o'clock at night, and we might say, well, look, come and have a drink because we really need to still talk about this, whatever it was. And I loved that.
Yeah.
And then it got to like, no, it's sort of like something goes and shuts the curtains on you,
Hmm.
and all sorts of things happened, and I left.
Okay.
And I've been no good at that anymore. And sometimes, you know, when your computer goes wrong, somebody says, "But you're a software engineer. You should know all about this." I don't. I don't care. I'm just an ignorant user now. I don't care. I don't want to know.
That's so funny. You like downgraded yourself. I've
Oh,
decided that I
totally,
don't want to know.
totally. You know, totally downgraded myself to a simple user with, you know, 2 synapses that fire
Oh,
occasionally.
fair, fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one more than a lot of people. But that was horrible. I'm shutting up now. So anyway, you've got to sort out your emotions, and you've got to sort out all the thinking side and the physical side and the practical side. I mean, even little things like, do you really enjoy the commute?
Mm.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't want to work from home. And so you need to sort all of that kind of thing out as what's still working. You know, I like working from home, but I don't want to work in that office. I need to build myself a garden shed or something to work in.
Yeah. Mm.
And I don't have these feelings. I still want to teach what I'm doing, but not like that anymore.
Mm.
So you have to sort these things out. And that takes a bit of time. And it usually takes, at least I've never managed to do it on my own. And, you know, I may have umpteen years of experience and tons of witchcraft and a load of psychotherapy and all this stuff, but I never managed to do it on my own.
Mm.
I've always needed a mentor, a
We are
coach.
social beings. Who does anything on their own? Realistically.
Realistically, no. And the other thing that happens is I chase myself around in my head.
Getting
And
angry at yourself.
you know, like a hamster going in your head.
Right.
And so, but if I sort of come along and say, Nadine, what am I supposed to do with this thing? I've got this
Yeah.
idea. And it's perfectly obvious to Nadine. She'd go,
Mm.
bing, bing, bing. And,
Because we're
oh,
not in it. We're not in the weeds. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So I found myself someone and I brainstormed. And I brainstormed me and I brainstormed with my coach. And we really got into it. We worked deep, as I do with people. And it started to come, that's what I need to do.
Mm.
That's what I need to do. And that's what I need to do. And I need to do them in that order. And so we got a plan. So we could set things off. And this is the sort of brewing time that you can set the first part of your plan off
Okay.
and see how it's going along. And then you come to your second part and your third part. But, and this is where you need your compost stirring helper, because as you do the first part, you change. So what you thought was the plan that you were supposed to have, it was for the person you were when you started off. Then you started working the plan and you're gradually becoming a different person. And you
Mm.
see things slightly differently. Actually, no, but before I do that bit in my teaching, I need to have this kind of layout for the lessons, and I need to have this kind of thing to do with my clients. I need to start here, not where I thought I would. So this is another reason why it's so useful to have someone to help you through it, because they can sort of say, are you sure you really want to do it that way anymore, Ellen? Did we ought to have a quick brainstorm? Yeah. We pivot during brewing, though.
Oh, okay. During brewing, I can't edit it now, or I don't know how to.
Well, don't worry about it. But this is a part of it. The brewing time, you're not fully formed, and I'm only just climbing out of my brewing stage with this current business.
Mm.
But you get an idea, so you follow it, and then something else happens, so you need to move on. Then you need to move on to the next place. And each time is changed because you've got a bit further.
Yeah.
And it's still brewing away, brewing away. This is what's happening in your garden compost when you just piled it in, left it there. And eventually you come out with, which is pretty well, I must be about this arrow here at the moment, pretty well into this like, ta-da! Here is the new Ellen, here
Sound
is the
effects
new
and all.
Nadine, here is the new Trevor, whoever, you know, here's the new Susanna. That's your sort of, yeah, I'm launching. Oh yeah, right. And And then guess what happens? Life. Because you do this new business for a few years. I mean, I did my last business for nearly 20 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, that's not working properly. That's not giving me the joy that it used to give me. So back we go, and round the cycle we go.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most important things about composting, is that be prepared to change all the
May I
time.
ask a question that I didn't allow you to prepare beforehand? At what point is it just done, I'm not enjoying this anymore? At what point do we get from new business to I need to compost this, or new project, or new life thing, whatever,
So
breakup, relationship?
here's my perfect politician's answer. That's a very good question, Nadine.
It depends. It depends on. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm not going into that. No, it
Okay.
is seriously a good question, taking off my idiot politician hat. Is there any other sort? Right, okay, won't go there. It's got two big things, and probably if you are running your own business and you like being your own boss, whether or not you have a team or whether you're totally solopreneur,
Yeah.
as I am at the moment, it's up to you to change. Now, what happens is you get this itch inside, and it might be a sort of intuitive itch that is saying, hey, look, done. Or it might be an instinctive one saying, actually, excuse my language now, excuse me, you're going to get constipated in this. Because we do.
Again, I'm gonna. You won't be able to politically answer this one, but that for you, that is an answer that you can give because you're so in touch with your feelings and your body and your needs and what's coming. A lot of us, we're really just low level, barely understanding our intuition. Can you bring it down a notch for people like me? Imagine you explaining it to 20 versions of
That
Nadine.
kind of thing. Are you being grumpy? Are you not sleeping? Are you waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and not knowing why? Is your appetite gone off? Is your digestion rubbish? Is your relationship at home with your kids or your partner or even your cat or whatever, is that going downhill? Because all of these things happen.
Yeah.
And when they happen, using Nadine's example, yeah, I'm very in touch with my inner self, and I know my intuition and I know my instincts. And so I can do. But the other half of what I was going to say, I am a stubborn bitch. I am seriously like, I don't want to change.
It can be a very useful quality.
Yes, but when you absolutely, part of you really knows you ought to be changing, and the other part of you is there digging their heels in, I'm not going, I want to. You have this turmoil between you, and that will make all of the physical conditions even worse. But you don't even need to get to that stage. Ordinary people who are not stubborn bitches like me, and there are some, probably quite a lot actually, you will get all the physical signs, and they are like the last signal that your body is trying to give you that your feelings are unhappy and your brain's in a knot, and your body's there saying, wake up, please, come on, we need you to do something.
No, all of those examples that you gave, I think who can't relate to that? We can all understand that, and that's a great moment to say, okay, something's wrong.
Yeah. If something's not working in life, then you need to look. The other side of that, and this is what happened, I've been swimming along happily, clients all the time, even waiting lists and things like that. And then I came up here and I knew I had to change, but I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was scared because, when you're doing something new, is it going to work? Am I going to crash? What's going to happen? And so I tried to keep it going for the first year, 18 months. What happened to my clients? Zhoof, near vertical slide off.
I bet, yeah.
And so this was like, in your face, Ellen. Look, it's not going to work anymore.
Okay.
You've got to change. So if your business is falling off in some way, if your clients are leaving, you're not getting new clients, if your clients are grumpy, if they're complaining or anything like that, and we've all had that. And, you know, there are the sort of clients who would complain if you gave them champagne and ice cream. But the ordinary people, if they're complaining, what's wrong?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's what's wrong in here. Look there first. Look
Okay.
into you. And look into particularly, not are you happy? Do you feel joyful? Am I making sense there, Nadine? Is there a difference between
There is
joy?
a different, joy and contentment. And I won't dive into it because I'm not an expert, but I do gather that it is easier for us to grasp the idea of being calm and content than being happy, because happy is so abstract, I guess. Yeah.
And it's so up
It's
and
woo.
down. You know?
Yeah,
You
we
say,
don't
oh,
really
I'm really
understand
happy
it.
today. Oh, I feel miserable.
Yeah. But you can
Um,
understand moments of joy and elation, and that might be something that you're looking for. But talking about whether you're content on a regular basis, I think that's easier for us to
that
get on
is
board
a
with.
start, but I think people probably get something else too.
Mhm.
When you get up in the morning, and happens early spring, especially if you're in the country, and you open the door and you can just smell the earth,
Mm.
and you sort of go, oh, or you see the sunrise, and it's actually the most amazing colours in the whole
Yeah.
possible universe palette, and you just go, or you see the same with the sunset.
Mm.
Or this robin comes down, and there you are sat on the park bench having your lunch, and this robin comes down and sits right beside you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
Those
are
moments
moments
of awe.
of joy.
Hmm.
That's all right. You get that feeling.
Yeah. They make you feel alive.
They do. And connected, of course,
Hmm.
because you're connecting to the sunset till the sunrise, or the robin, or whatever it is. And if you're not getting those moments at least several times a week, look at what you're actually doing to earn your daily bread, because it may need adjusting,
Hmm. Okay.
and that's fine. You're quite allowed to adjust. So where did I go from here? Before I get too carried away. Oh yes, right. Are we into questions, or shall I go back one still?
No, go for, please start answering my dumb questions. And to the audience, if you have questions that are along these lines or very different for Ellen, please drop them in here and we'll answer them. But these are the questions that I've been asking Ellen the last
And
few
you're not,
weeks, I guess.
yeah, you have.
So LinkedIn user, which will be Srishti again. So hello,
Yep,
Srishti has just told us that the best advice she ever had was spend 10-15 minutes outside first thing in the morning before turning a phone on and let your senses get activated.
you're
Yeah,
so right. LinkedIn user Shrishti, possibly?
I think it might be Srishti. Yeah, Srishti Verma, who's a
But
colleague of
you are
mine.
so right, and that is something that I do every day. I also go out at night, Shrishti, in the dusk, after I
Hmm.
finish,
To see if you can catch any
and
rats and
before I.
impress Helen.
No, I try and go out at night as well, and I will go also because I work at home. I can go out during the day, so you know I've just done a couple of hours work, and I've really got some stuff going. That and I want a cup of tea. We had the tea argument on our thread a little while ago. I
I've
want a cup of
regretted that post quite a lot.
tea, right?
Yeah.
And I go out, and I'll just, even if I stand outside the door, just outside the door, but if I can go around the garden or just go down the lane or something like that. First light in the morning, Jack, I'm totally with you. It's just stunning. And I will wake up deliberately for it now. I've trained myself to wake up when it first happens, which is a little difficult in the summer because it's 4 o'clock, but I don't care. I'm still going to do it. And you get that sort of feel. But people ask me these questions, and you're not the only one. And I had a chat with somebody
Okay.
yesterday about this, and I had another chat with a millennial this afternoon about this sort of thing. that was quite an amazing chat, actually. And yeah, I get it, that the whole way you've been brought up is not like mine. And so I wouldn't dream of it, Amara. So you might well struggle with the time and effort required, because there isn't an app that will do composting for you. Actually, I can't imagine anybody managing to make one.
Oh, that's really annoying. Yeah, because I think the expression that I use the most in my everyday life is there's an app for that. Whenever someone has a problem.
Well, there are some idiots I've heard in the past week or two who are saying there must be an app to put all the ice that we've melted back in the North and South Pole.
I mean, realistically, there might be an app for that. So no. But point taken.
Yeah.
We're not used to not being able to solve things with technology and following steps, right?
Yeah. And actually, that's the last thing you need to really do if you want a proper good life. And we'll get into AI in a minute. I'm going to have a conversation with you, Trevor, about that. But you need to be able to just let yourself go. As I said, you've got feelings, you've got your thinking, you've got your intuition, which you may not know very well, and you've got your instincts, who you probably just don't take enough notice of.
Yeah.
And the closer you can get to involving all of those into your daily life, the better. Now, I know how to help people who find it a challenge. So it will be a challenge at first, but I know how to help you do it. And the idea of patiently waiting, I want instant tea now. Well, sorry, you can't turn the world on like that. It doesn't happen. So it's a case of like getting back in tune with the world, because, the sun is going to rise at a certain time, and it's not going to rise any earlier or later, no matter how many apps you've got. And it's a case of getting back in tune with that. Now, I can help you with fun stuff with that. I don't sort of shout at you usually. But I've got lots of fun stuff that you can do to help you with that.
Okay.
And the process isn't complicated when you're actually working in it. I'm a very visual learner, and I'm a very practical learner. So this is what you're going to get from me, because that's what I like and what I do best. So I won't give you sort of written instructions. I'll say, go and do this and see what happens. And don't just read the words on the page. You will have enormous effects. I've been teaching people that 30 years. I know it. Every time somebody does it, they go, oh, I wouldn't have expected that. I didn't know that was going to happen. So I've got the ways through it. And you get used to the time and effort and the commitment. As I say here, I'm learning AI very quickly now and thoroughly. I've done graphic design. I used to be a Photoshop wizard. And I was a computing software engineer, designing stuff and running teams. But I couldn't learn to do them quite overnight. I can't even learn to do AI overnight. I get better at it the more committed I am and the more I do it. Point here, commitment is about having fun. If you're not having fun, you can tell yourself with your head that I'm going to commit myself to this for a whole hour today. And you'd just be there clock watching, saying, is my hour up yet?
Yeah, we need to find those small moments of gratification so that we're not completely lost thinking, oh, this is a months and years long process, I'm never going to get there. But I think you would get that through your process. And the point about, okay, but you're going to have to do these things anyway, the time commitment, I don't know. I mean, so I'm kind of a believer that sometimes we should just struggle through, even if something's not fun. There are some things that you should just keep going, because it might not be fun, but it might be worth it.
That's true.
My viewpoint.
Yes, it's true in a way. One of my
struggle through, like my motto to motivate the young'uns.
Keeping on. Yeah. What was Churchill's beautiful one? Keep buggering on. Yes.
Keep buggering on.
Which is quite fun. But one of my clients has been going through one of these days, because it always happens with clients of any variety. And, she's lovely upward curve. And then she got stuck, and she slipped backwards a bit, and she got stuck. And then we worked again together, and I was giving new pointers and new sort of like, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Try that. And it's like, whoop, up again. And this happens. So you go along, stuck, fall back a bit, up, stuck, fall back a bit, up. So you're doing this kind of curve all the time. And life is like that. You know, you don't spend your whole life high as a bloody kite. So much happiness. But you go to these down stages, and then you go up. You find something that pulls you up, and then you go down. So I know about these things, and I can help you when it happens. And so I can help you. So you will gain the benefits of it, and it will work. Another question that Nadine shoved at me: what would I achieve if I composted? Well, I'm sorry, I have a cartoon brain, so my first image there was of Nadine climbing into the compost bin, and me putting
Which
the
I did
lid.
not do.
No,
I just looked over the edge to see what was possible and then went away.
And I'm actually, you know, I like Nadine, so I actually wouldn't shut her in the compost bin,
Thank goodness.
because I'm very fond of her that way, so I wouldn't. But so what would I achieve? Well, the first thing that always happens for me, and has happened for my clients too, is new and easier ways of doing your business.
Yeah.
They're hard sometimes, the old ways, A, because they're out of date, and B, because they no longer fit you.
Okay.
You've outgrown those clothes, you've outgrown those attitudes, you've outgrown those feelings. You know, as adult, Nadine was saying, I haven't adulted far enough, you know. I'm getting awful funny ideas of adulting. It's something like messing up milk or something. I don't know. I'm thinking adulterate, you see. So
Yeah.
that it's, you will find you go and look for them, or if you ask someone to help you go and look for them, which is a much better way, and you will find that they then become much more. You won't feel bad. Your digestion will get better. You won't have headaches. Your hair might even brighten up as well, because it probably will. And you'll only get good stress. Stress itself is not wrong.
Okay.
Stress can be really useful, and it can be very exciting and fun. I mean, ask anybody who goes on a zip wire. Not that I'm going on one, but you know, that's it. Or when I used to have horses and galloping bareback. Wow. You know, yes, it's stressful. I might fall off, but I'm not spending the time thinking I'm going to fall off. I go, oh my God, this is fantastic. So stress can be good. But you probably won't get much in the way of overwhelm, because you will have new oomph inside you, and you will also have a new plan, which will really help you. And you'll be clearer, because you will have been brainstorming and throwing things out and refurbishing other things, and you will get clearer. And the one I like best is you'll know better how to fix things when they go wrong.
Right. Of course.
And everything always goes wrong. Nothing ever stays right forever. It always falls over. You do. Your work does. Your laptop does. Mine blew the other night halfway through a student meeting.
No.
Blue screen on me. It's like, hello guys, I'm on the phone. But it worked. But again, you see, I knew what to do. I just sort of grab the phone. Zoom on the phone. Guys, I'm here.
We have a lot of backup plans these days.
Well, you've got to. And we always did when I was growing up, and that was sort of, you know, well over half a century ago. So backup plans are always useful, and you will know what to do. And your business itself will be better, and it will be more sustainable, because you'll have better teamwork if you've got a team, or associate and collaborative work if you're working together. You have a better way of doing it, and you'll have a better inside you to enable that to do it. You'll have your own mindsets and your own feelings that will be better. Yep.
That's pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's perfect. Murphy's Law. Yeah. Don't forget Newton's third law, though, Trevor. Every action always has an equal and opposite reaction. So we always have to bring that one in as well. So if I do that, what is because it will all the time, but you will know about that. And because you've sorted yourself out inside and you've sorted the business out and you've got help with it, you will have much better teamwork, connections, your relationships, and your better relationships will help good customer relationships. Guess what? Your sales are going to go up. Your business is going to go up. People are going to want it because it's shining. You've made it shine. And you'll also know, because you've done it now, that you've got this change process, this composting process you can use. And you know at least one person, because you've just worked with them, who can help you through it.
Yeah.
You may well have met others. So you'll be in a much better state the next time you need to change. You won't be stuck. You will have some ideas. Now, you were just talking about stuff, and so was somebody else, and I can't remember exactly who it was. But you get, when you learn to compost, especially if you learn with me, you get inner support. I can't think of another way to say it. I'm sure I should. You get what I call an otherworldly team who works with you. And it starts with what you mentioned, Nadine. You start to get to know your instinct. And you start to get to know your intuition. And you know when it's them and when it's your mind thinking up some stupid idea, or your emotions saying, but I really wanted that. Or I really didn't want that. And you know what those feel like. And it's about feeling. They feel different. And you will learn to know your instincts and your intuition. I was brought up with the psychotherapy of Jung. That's when I was doing my psychotherapy. It was part of what I did. And Jung, one of Jung's big points is that we have 4 functions. We have our body, our instincts, we have our feelings, we have our thinking, and we have our intuition. Most modern business works on just one out of our 4 cohorts, our 4 co-workers. We just use this thing.
That one thing.
On the top of our necks. And actually, it's not always the best thing to use. When we use it, people say, I'm sure you've all said it, I know I have at times, I think I feel. And so if it's a client, I usually say, which? And it is true. You either feel something, you've got it in your feelings, or you might have it in your thinking. It might be an idea and a thought, or it might be this is hurting, or this is gorgeous. And when you start to use the wrong thing, like you use your thinking to sort out relationship feelings, it's a little bit like trying to take a screw out with a hammer.
Right.
Anybody ever tried that?
No, I've tried to fix a camera with my hands, which is obviously not the correct way to do it.
I think we've just got, what was that, Murphy's Law, Trevor, you were putting up? I think Murphy's
Things
Law.
break. Like my camera just took a nosedive for no reason.
Just watch it in front of your face.
I'm just going to hold it like that. You can chat to me like this the whole time.
We're doing all right so far. So you end up with this inner team, which is at least your instincts into your intuition. But I'm not having a scrub with a hammer. I don't care. Take a screw thingy that goes round and round and round.
It'll take a long time to get a screw in with a hammer, you're right.
And if you just hit it with a hammer, it'll probably either go further in or you'll break the whole thing, but whatever. Okay. So you end up with them. And if you've been working with me, you'll find that there are what people used to call invisible friends to you when you were a little child. Oh no, that's your invisible friend. No, you're too old. You've adulted far on that. Bullshit. there's a hell of a lot out there, not just us. So you will end up finding that you have something, even if it's only your cat or your dog or your horse, and they will be there and you'll be able to ask them. Bye bye, Pira. It'll still be recorded. You can get it. So lovely. Bye bye, Susanna. It'll still be recorded. And I am nearly winding up, so you're not missing too much. So let's move on. So the last question Nadine threw at me was, how can I realistically do this? Well, I sort of turned this into a sales call, but I didn't really mean that.
No.
You can do it, but like I said earlier, try not to do it on your own. Find somebody. There's me. Find somebody and book a call, DM them, message them, phone them, whatever you do, and say, I need a help. And when you find them, tell them what your big challenge is now. What's your biggest thing or your biggest 3 things? It won't stay that way. They'll grow and they'll change. But if you start off with 3 things, it's a bit like when the author has to start with a blank page, and if you put some rubbish on the page, you'll correct it. So if you put your 3 challenges up there, you've got something to start with.
And you're then putting something out into the universe, at least, like you're arranging it in your own head and saying, this is what I need help with. And that might, the person that you reach out to might not be the perfect person to help you with it. But I would obviously say start with Ellen, because I think she's brilliant. But yeah, I think even just nailing down what your biggest challenges are can be a huge step for a lot of us, and voicing it to somebody else. It can be.
Yeah, go on, Nadine. Yeah.
No, just that can be very difficult, and it is already a huge step in the right direction. Just to even say, this is my challenge right now, like, and I recognize that I should sort it.
Yeah, that it needs sorting. Let's not put obligations with shoulds and oughts and things on ourselves. The problem needs sorting.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do it. So can you help me? And the person, if they're a nice sort of person and any good at all, as I know Nadine is, because I use her for her skills as well, and they'll say, I'll show you what I do and what the process is and what you can expect from that and how long it'll probably take. And that's sort of like, oh, I feel a bit solid. I've got a plan. Somebody's given me a plan. And then you can say, let's see how this business composting can work for you. It can. But you need to, everybody needs a co-pilot.
Yeah.
And we really do. And it really helps if you've got one. And I do it. So anybody want me? I am delighted if you want to come for me, because I thoroughly enjoy it. It's one of my passions. So just to finish up with, I like Will Smith. Lots of people like Will Smith. It isn't particularly his quote, but I do. I so connected to symbolically being able to turn lead into gold. My grandmother used to say, life gave you a lemon, so go ahead and make lemonade. To me, that's alchemy. I like that.
It's a very you quote.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? It's like, don't say, oh, when you got a lemon, I'm going to do this with it.
Yeah. It's so, all of these phrases that we maybe get desensitized to because we hear them so often, like get a lemon, people don't like it. Yeah, people don't like him anymore, Amara. I know that's true, but he did a thing, but he was still an integral part of my 90s childhood, so I still like him.
Same here. I mean, I doubt I could have picked somebody that everybody would like anyway.
Oh no, you couldn't. I always say that, like, The Rock, like everyone likes The Rock, but my partner, my life partner, not my business partner, hates him. So I don't know. You can't choose somebody that everyone likes. I think it's pretty hard not to like Will Smith. But yeah, I think that, again, coming back to,
some people don't. That's absolutely fine.
Some people don't, and that's absolutely fine, especially considering most recent
You like him. I like the quote.
It's a really good quote.
It's actually his quote, but they put it to him. So fair enough. That's okay.
AZ quotes put it to him, did they?
I don't know, probably.
We'll check our sources. I'll get a journalist on it to check our sources. No, I think
Oh God,
these
I don't
bringing.
care that much.
It's just not really. We're not worrying about that today. What we're worrying about is composting and turning things that can still be reused and can still be upcycled into something else. I think it's a generous offer of you to say that you would do this call with someone and give them an idea of where they could go and the steps that they could take. All of those things are going to really open our minds to a lot of viewpoints and routes that we would never have even considered. And I just think the most important point that you've maybe made this whole time is that don't do it alone. Don't do any of this alone.
No. And I'm really hot on that. I've never succeeded. I've tried to do it on my own. As I said, I'm a bolshy, stubborn bitch, but it does not work. And okay, I've got sort of oodles of experience and background and witchiness and goodness knows what, and I still can't do it alone. So, hell, get someone to help you.
Yeah.
But I have got one little sort of treat to offer you if you want to. No, it is not a Fabergé egg.
My chocolate egg.
Terribly sorry, but I have not got any free Fabergé eggs to give away. Sort of like an early Easter egg present, that I've got a little short package on business composting, which it won't tell you all about it or anything like that, but it will give you some little thoughts to tinker with yourself and maybe get you, oh, I could do that, or what about that?
Like a taster.
A taster, indeed. It's not even going to turn up in an egg, I'm afraid, but there you go.
So you've called it an Easter egg and it's not a taster now that we've said, and it's not even. Okay, no, that's a wonderful offer. So how can people get that from you? DM you?
Well, DM me on LinkedIn, and since we're all on LinkedIn, you all know how to DM people. This is me. This is what you're going to be asking me about, and it's about how to use the old ways to navigate your business in the 21st century. And get on it, get ahead of the game, do it now. You can either contact me through my website, which is in process. That's another thing, but I am always here on LinkedIn. So DM me is the quickest way of being sure to get through to me. And if we reverse back one, just if you DM me with the words early Easter eggs, I shall know what you're about. And I shall know that you want me to send you the egg. And I will do that thing.
Wonderful. That's very generous of you to get people started on this journey. And I think we've learned a lot about composting today, not about upcycling content or about kitchen waste, but I think we've learned a lot about a much more useful form of composting for those of us who are launching our own businesses, especially here on LinkedIn, the digital world. A lot of people will be transitioning from a brick and mortar business to a digital business or something like that, or trying to compete with AI, and we're all having to find new ways. Although I gather Jack Giaconelli says that AI is it doesn't exist because it's not actually intelligent, but we still think it might take our jobs. So a lot of us are reinventing at this moment. Thank you, Jack. Wonderful.
Great.
Any last words, Ellen? Any more pearls of wisdom that we need to think about?
Pearls of wisdom. Wow.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No.
Just come up with something really amazing that people will remember forever.
Come on. Okay. This is all sort of buying time. You realise that?
Yeah.
This is how you sort of do it when you're stuck on the TED screen,
This is how you buy time. That's a really good question. Yeah. Good. I'm so glad you asked that question. Oh, yeah. All these really good
questions. I've asked me that question over the past sort of few years. So you then go into about 20 minutes of idiot story about that, and you never answer the bloody question. Okay, pearls of wisdom. Find a friend. Find a coaching type friend, someone you've got chemistry with, someone that you like, and do it.
And if they do alchemy, even better.
The alchemy will come, but you do need, finding a coach is like finding a good date. It is. If there isn't a
But
chemistry there, it's not
kiss a
going to
few
happen.
frogs.
Yeah, if necessary, kiss a few frogs.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, we should, I mean, as guys, me and Ellen could go on for hours, guys. We've obviously gone way over time, and that's on me. I wasn't managing this right. So I hope that everyone's enjoyed it. We've got a lot of very positive comments in here. I'm going to say that if you put any more comments in here with questions, if you're watching this back, please tag Ellen or I so that we see it, because LinkedIn does not notify us of things correctly. So there's no guarantee that we'll see it unless you DM us or tag us in this video. You might find that this would be useful to somebody that you know. If you're knowing of someone, especially who's going through a kind of transmutation or transition in their business, their career, maybe send them this video. It might get them thinking, and they can put us on in the background while they're making dinner if they like. So thank you to everyone who joined us. I think this was, we had a lovely turnout. Thank you to all of the people in the comments. We do see you. We are enjoying it. And you make me want to keep talking and not end this. But thank you again for your insights, Ellen. You're always wonderful to talk to. But I think with that, we'll let people go and enjoy their evenings / lunch times.
We will indeed. I want one more though. I will go through all of the comments, everyone.
Will you?
I will do my best to answer you if you've asked me a question. So no problem.
Oh, love you guys. Well, thank you everyone that popped in. LinkedIn user, Laura Ray, Trevor, Susanna, Myra, Jack, Piera. I think I'm sorry if I missed anyone. I know there are a lot of other people who didn't chat in, but we appreciate you being here. It really makes a difference to us.
Take care, everyone.
Have a lovely evening.